Indiana's Supreme Court is pondering the fate of the state's controversial school voucher law. Justices heard arguments from both sides on whether the law that allows private schools to receive state funds violates the Indiana Constitution. Well, that law was part of a pile of education reforms put into place by then State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tony Bennett. News 10's Mike Grant reports that while Bennett may be leaving office, there are questions about how much impact his successor will have on that agenda.
During the election earlier this month, Republicans virtually ran away with victories from the voters in Indiana. One of the notable exceptions, though, was the victory of school librarian Glenda Ritz. The Southern Indiana Democrat defeated Republican incumbent Tony Bennett for State Superintendent of Public Instruction. Bennett had pushed an aggressive agenda, and one lawmaker says that may have led to his defeat.
I do think, though, you could very safely say that the public is not comfortable with the speed. I think they want more time to see what those reforms mean.
A lot of people question just how effective Glenda Ritz is going to be as a state superintendent of public instruction. After all, many of these reforms were put into place by Republican lawmakers and a Republican governor, and that fact hasn't changed at the State House. However, Representative Battle says the laws were written in such broad terms that the superintendent has plenty of room for interpretation.
There is a lot of wiggle room, as I see it at least, that the legislature allowed the superintendent of public instruction in creating that and doing as he or she wished.
That means the piles of reforms heading to the classroom might get a different look.
We need to make sure this is stuff that works in real life and doesn't just work on paper, and has to be about good policy rather than maybe good politics.
Something that will ultimately impact schools throughout all of Indiana. In Vincennes, I'm Mike Grant, News 10.
Besides the current splits on education reform, Governor-elect Mike Pence is bringing a separate agenda that includes more early childhood education and vocational training in high school.